Hi students, Ms. Tesler here. Think about ways that you can group whole numbers. Maybe you're thinking of using parentheses. Maybe you're thinking of using properties like the distributive property or the associative property. You've learned a lot about grouping fractions too, like how to compose smaller units to make a larger unit. Now that we're working with more units, we need an efficient way to compose them. Today, we'll practice grouping fractions using addition and multiplication. Get your pencil paper ready or your personal whiteboard. Give your brain a big stretch and let's get started. Write 6 times 2 as an addition sentence showing 6 groups of 2. Here's mine. Does yours look like mine? Does yours show 6 2's? Now draw a number line that shows 6 2's. Ready? Here's mine. That matches the number sentence. Now, write 6 times 1/2 as an addition sentence showing 6 groups of 1/2. Ready? Here's mine. We're adding 1/2 6 times. Now draw a number line showing 6 groups of 1/2. Ready? Take a look at mine. That matches the number sentence too. Look at your first repeated addition equation with 2's. Remember that we can use parentheses to group parts of an equation together. There are lots of ways we could do that. Where would you add parentheses to make groups of 6? Done? If we put parentheses around groups of 3 2's like this, that makes groups of 6. That's another way of showing 6 times 2. Now, look at your repeated addition equation with halves. Use parentheses to group halves to make 1's. How many halves make 1? 2 halves. So how many groups of 2 halves did you make? We can make 3 groups of 1. Pause to answer this. True or false? Is 6 times 1/2 equal to 3 times 2 halves? Hit play when you're ready to check. So what do you think? They are the same. It's true. Adding 1/2 6 times gives us 3 groups of 2 halves. Adding those up is also equal to 6 halves, or 3. Now think about that problem. 6 times 1/2 in unit form. Thumbs up if 6 times 1/2 equals 6 halves. Yep, another thumbs up if that's equal to 3. Yes. On this number line, how many groupings of halves do you see modeled? I see 3 groups of 2 halves. Is this equation correct? Yes. Remember, we found that these are equal. I'm going to add parentheses. What is shown by placing them here? Why might I want to make a group of 2 halves? Of course, 2 halves make 1. And what's 3 times 1? 3. So the number sentence with parentheses here is grouped to show how many 1's we have. I'm going to show that same number sentence again, but this time put parentheses here. What does it show if I group 3 times 2? What's 3 times 2? 6. 6 halves. So grouping 3 times 2 shows how many halves we have. Take a look at these 2 different groupings and at this number line. Which of the groupings best matches what is shown on the number line? Placing parentheses around 2 halves best matches the number line, which shows groups of 1. Why is it helpful to group fractional parts by 1's? When we group fractional parts by 1's, we can see how many wholes or 1's we have. Whole numbers are familiar to us. Once we make as many ones as possible, we can more easily see if any fractional parts are left over. Then we can write our answer as a whole number or a mixed number. Keep this in your brain's pocket as we look at another example. Pause to read this next expression out loud and write it in unit form. Ready? In unit form, it would look like this. How many fifths is this in all? 10 fifths. And how many fifths make 1? 5 fifths. So we want to make groups of 5 fifths. How many groups of 5 fifths are there in 10 fifths? 5 times what makes 10? 2. 2 groups of 5 fifths is equal to 10 fifths. I'll use parentheses to group 5 fifths together. What is each group of 5 fifths equal to? 5 fifths is equal to 1. And what is 2 times 1? 2. Pause here to draw a number line that shows this grouping and supports this answer. Ready? Take a moment to compare your number line with mine. Notice how it models 2 groups of 5 fifths. Great job composing ones. Let's do another. This next one is a little different. What if we have 9 copies of 1/4? What does that mean? Maybe you're thinking of it as 9 times 1/4 or as 9 fourths. How many fourths make 1? 4. And how many groups of 4 fourths are in 9 fourths? 2 groups of 4 fourths make 8 fourths, then there is 1/4 remaining. So our product will be a mixed number. How can we show this as a number sentence with multiplication? We've been using parentheses to group each one. We can also use parentheses to group multiple ones. Right along with me. 4 fourths make each one. How many copies of 4 fourths do we have? 2. We can group them together and write it as multiplication like this. I'll use parentheses to group that part together. Remember, we're grouping this part together because that makes all the ones. What do we do with the other fourth? Add it on. Write the answer as a mixed number. Did you say 2 and 1/4? That would be correct. Is that equal to 9 fourths? Yes, the part we grouped with parentheses is equal to 8 fourths plus 1 more fourth is 9 fourths. Pause here to draw a number line that models this equation. Ready to check? Here's mine. Take a moment to compare your number line with mine. Does yours show 2 hops of 4 fourths? That matches this part of the equation. Then add on 1 more fourth to match this part of the equation. Awesome job. Let's try another one using parentheses to group the ones. Last one together for today. How are you feeling? You got this. Read this expression out loud and write it down. Pause and think. What unit do we have and how many units? How many make 1? How many ones do we have? Ready to go on? Did you find that we have 17 sixths? And did you remember that 6 sixths make 1? How many groups of 6 sixths? We have 2 groups of 6 sixths. That makes 12 sixths and 5 sixths left. Pause to write an equation using parentheses and multiplication to group the ones. Then write the answer as a mixed number. Ready? Here's how we write the equation using parentheses and multiplication to group the ones. And the answer as a mixed number is 2 and 5/6. Compare your equation with mine. Finally, pause to draw a number line that models this equation. Ready to check? Here's mine. Compare our work. Make sure you showed 2 groups of 6/6 and 1 group of 5/6. Excellent work with me today. You are totally ready to try the problem set on your own. The must-do problems are on the screen. Set a timer or watch the clock for 10